On AM Extra, taking on the worst of the worst, 20-time best-selling author Bill O'Reilly is tackling the dark side of human nature in his newest novel.
Confronting Evil traces some of humanity's greatest misdeeds, from Genghis Khan to Hitler and beyond. He joins us now live to talk about his new book and what this means for the struggle between good and evil. Interesting topic. Bill, it's always great to see you. Good morning.
Thanks for having me in, guys. I appreciate it.
What inspired you to write this book about ruthless leaders, good and evil, past and present?
Because we're seeing a rise in evil in the United States and around the world. So these books take a year to write and research. And this time last year, I was going, I'm getting a little disturbed by some of the things that are happening in our society. Putin bothers me. The jihad bothers me in Persia, Iran. So let me take a look at it. And as you mentioned very kindly, we've had 20 #1 New York Times bestsellers. We open at #1 on Sunday. People are really fascinated by the concept of evil. And we saw it on display in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That's individual evil. I'm writing more about collective evil. But right now, this is a hot topic. And the reason I wrote about it is because I want good people to get upset about it, and to do as much as they can to fight against evil. That's a key.
Well, Bill, this is such a huge conversation that we're having as a country right now. And I'm sure some folks would look and think like, gosh, is he a bit of a fortune teller? You knew this was going to be, on the table. But in reality, it's not. When you look to these lessons of the past and how often throughout history we have seen these people rise to power. What is your definition of evil and how do you tackle it in this book?
Evil is very simple. It's when you hurt another human being on purpose and you feel no remorse. That's evil. And it's so destructive. And people have it in their own families. You guys have it in Pioneer Square. I worked in Portland, you may know that, way back in the Stone Age. And Portland back then was a benign city, very beautiful. And you could walk around any time of the day or night. Now, it's a combat zone in some parts of the city because of the dope, because of the drugs. And a lot of people just look away from it. In fact, the legislature in Oregon legalized hard drugs, made them more available. That's evil. And we write about the drug cartels in Mexico and Colombia, and the individual pusher is an evil person, because you don't know if that fentanyl is going to kill somebody. You don't know what the enslavement thing is. And so I want to make this book very personal. And I think we've succeeded in doing that.
Well, and you mentioned Putin here just in this interview now. How do you tackle the subject of Vladimir Putin in your book? Well,
Putin is the most evil person on earth right now because he has nuclear weapons. And I believe he'd use them if his back were against the wall. So on 9/11, I was with President Trump at Yankee Stadium for the big game honoring the victims and the families of 9/11. And I gave him a copy of Confronting Evil. And I said, look, Mr. President, I know you're busy, but you got to read this chapter on Putin, because he's not the same guy that you knew first time around. He's got a lot worse. And about 24 hours later, I got a text from the president saying, whoa. And so I hope that I've contributed to my country's point of view about how this monster has to be contained.
That's interesting, Bill. Some of President Trump's comments at the UN Assembly this week might suggest that he is changing his attitude on Putin and Russia just a little bit. I think the question on everyone's mind when confronting evil is, what do we do about it? Whether it's problems here at home, whether it's problems on a global scale, what do you hope that viewers take away from this read?
Well, you got to be careful. So if you're on the south side of Chicago and you see the drug gangs every day doing evil, you can't do anything about it. Same thing in Mexico. They'll kill you. You got to be very, very careful. But you can confront evil in your own town, school boards, even in your own family. You see somebody going down like this assassin of Charlie Kirk. His own family, who was a good family, said, look, we saw the deterioration of our son. it was right between the eyes because he was in the dark recesses of social media and he was becoming increasingly radicalized. If you see that, you got to do an intervention. You have to make a big deal out of it. And so good people have a responsibility to confront evil as best they can.
It's a tough conversation, but nothing that is fixed by ignoring it, that's for sure.
Sure. Bill, always appreciate your time. Before we let you go, where can people find your book?
Anywhere. The best deal is on BillO'Reilly.com, where we live. If you become a premium member, which will enhance your life, you get it free. But Amazon's got it. Everybody's got it. You know, you get down to Burnside, bookstores down there. I don't know whether they take me or not, but you can find a book almost everywhere.
All right. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate your time. And again, you can get a link to that copy right now. You can also find everything you need to know about this. Again, Bill O'Reilly's Confronting Evil with this story on coin.com.